All right, joining me now, great pleasure, on set, in person, Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania. Senator, welcome.
Hey, Larry. Thanks for having me.
I want to get to some very specific items, but the America First Policy Institute, and look, I would just say conservative scholars everywhere, it's time to present a new agenda. We need a regime change on security, on the economy, on our culture. I mean, that's one of the lessons, that's one of the issues, that's our research, that's what we're trying to do. What you think? Are we too early, too late? I mean, can this be turned around?
Well, absolutely. You know, one of the lessons I've learned from being in this town for kind of a long time now, Larry, is, you know, the battle's never over. You've got to win again and again. I mean, just think about what we just did, right? We went through a big experiment where we said, okay, let's try dramatic tax reform with lower marginal rates. We'll simplify. We won't punish companies for being successful. We'll roll back regulation dramatically. We'll encourage energy production. And let's see what happens. Well, what we got was the best economy of my lifetime. It's indisputable.
And you were instrumental in the tax cuts. I know you're modest, but you were instrumental in the tax cuts.
I'm delighted to be able to play a role in the Senate as you played in the administration. We worked together and we got the biggest tax reform in 30 years, easily, maybe bigger than the previous one. But the point I'm making is, like, tell me what was wrong with the results. What is wrong with record low unemployment, record accelerating wage gains, with low inflation, asset prices strong, the economy booming, wage gap narrowing? All of those things were happening. And so the Democrats looked at that and said, well, we can't let that go on. Yeah, we can't have that. And so, you know, they've been trying since Biden became president to tax us into a recession. Now, they haven't been able to raise taxes. Thank goodness. There's been one or two Democrats have held out. But the damage they're doing on the regulatory front, on the energy front. By the way, I'm so glad you mentioned the Supreme Court, because, you know, what the media coverage completely ignores is the fact that we conservatives don't ask the Supreme Court to give us the policy outcome we want. That's the job of policymakers. What we ask them to do, respect the law and the Constitution.
Yep.
And that's what these guys are doing. And that, I agree with you, it's very, very bullish.
Monumental change.
It's huge because, let's be honest, the Democrat strategy is to have the administrative state accomplish what they can't do legislatively. And this Supreme Court is saying, no, actually, the executive branch can only do what the law permits. That's a big game changer.
Guess what Steve Forbes, our great friend Steve Forbes, almost from day one with the Bidens, called this modern socialism through the regulatory state as they try to jam down our throats, you know, this crazy climate activism, for example.
Which, by the way, I really have a hard time getting lectured by them about the importance of preserving our democracy when all of these things they're trying to do are so undemocratic. Have financial regulators decide our climate change policy, have the court deliver the liberal policies that they can enact through legislation. That's so undemocratic to have the unelected, unaccountable parts of our government making those decisions.
That's what we're working on. I mean,
yeah,
the
well,
FBI,
that's important work.
as I said, we're not perfect, but we're building a whole coalition here. By the way, Senator McConnell, who was, I think, instrumental in getting the conservative judges.
Absolutely.
He's going to come on the show. We're going to talk about that because I think the impact of these decisions and this new court is just vast, monumental, and good.
Very, very good and enduring.
So, Pat Toomey, let's sort of look at a few issues, though, that may not be so good. One of them is, I know you're opposed to this CHIPS Plus or whatever it's called, US ICA, $250 billion. What's happening here?
Yeah. Well, I think you understand this very well, Larry. You know, there's this concern that China is going to displace America in basically all things. As it happens, China does not dominate advanced chip manufacturing. We have much better technology about how to make chips. And we have a very mature industry that is also very profitable and that is expanding in the United States. There are 4 big fab projects already underway. But we've got folks that decided the way you beat the Chinese is to emulate the Chinese and have a big dose of central planning, have taxpayers allocate capital to this profitable existing industry. I think it's a big mistake. It passed the key procedural vote today, however, so it's gonna pass.
I know. I'm going to have to accept the outcome. I don't like it, like
Same
you.
here.
I mean, I would have rather seen tax cuts, extend the 100% depreciation laws, things of that sort.
Absolutely.
R&D credits could be deductible, those sorts of things for all industries.
You make it available to everyone.
Not just,
right. And by the way, I think we're heading towards a glut of chips.
I know.
Right? That's where we're going to be.
There is evidence.
A year from now, we're going to hear companies crying to us because we can't make any money because chip prices are so low.
So I guess there will be some kind of reconciliation bill. And in that bill, drug price controls and more Obamacare subsidies and Lord knows what. What do you think?
Yeah, so that's the way it looks. It looks like that could be on the floor as early as next week. And it looks like those are the two big elements, right? The Democrats kept expanding subsidies for middle and even upper income people to buy Obamacare, which is ridiculous. But those subsidies are going to expire by the design of the Democrats' own bills, and so they desperately want to extend it so that people don't lose that subsidy going into an election. And the way they've decided to pay for all this is to impose price controls on the most arguably innovative and such an important industry that we dominate.
These are the companies, by the way, who develop vaccines in 6 months.
Totally.
Operation Warp Speed.
No other country in the world
could have done that.
To do this. Nobody could have done
Cutting red tape, working with them. If they make a buck, we let them make a buck. 6 months, what people thought could take 5 to 10 years. And so they're going to be punished. If I get this right?
Yeah. So just think about the approach that this administration has taken here. So energy prices have gone through the roof, as everybody knows. And so the administration's response, curtail the production of energy, right? Curtail the supply of energy. Meanwhile, prescription drug prices have been rising at a small fraction of CPI overall.
That's right.
And so let's impose price controls. It just makes no sense, Larry.
Senator Toomey, last one. It's a quixotic effort, but in the America First Policy Institute, I've got Russell Vought, former OMB director, Steve Moore, who will be on this show, my brother, great economist. I'll be involved, Brooke Roth. We're trying to come up with a balanced budget plan. And you are an expert in this area. And first of all, I want to ask you, is it possible? I mean, shouldn't we be talking about a balanced budget? And second of all, Pat, I think one of the keys, there's a growth component. We're going to lower taxes and regulation. But the proliferation of non-entitlements, non-Social Security, non-Medicare, food stamps, welfare, housing subsidies, these have to be cut back. They've grown so much, and they all should have work requirements in them.
Totally should have work requirements.
You agree with that?
Totally. And it's really staggering the amount of money that Democrats have thrown at these things at every category. I don't think you could, Larry, I'd challenge you to come up with a single welfare program that any Democrat senator is willing to cut at all.
Right.
It's like all of these programs have to grow at shocking rates. We threw enormous amounts of money at things like housing and urban transit during the COVID crisis. Turns out state and local governments were collecting record amounts of revenue, but they still got all this money. And now they want to just give them still more. This can't go on.
Without the Clinton-Gingrich work requirements.
Right.
I mean, you know what? There's a great study. We're going to run out of time. They're all yelling at me. But Alicia Finley of the Wall Street Journal wrote up a Harvard study that basically showed federal welfare-related assistance without workfare makes people unhappy. They have low morale.
Sure.
They have bad self-esteem.
Yeah.
I mean, this is stuff that Arthur Brooks from the AI did many years ago.
Yeah.
This has come right around again. Harvard, my goodness gracious. And so that, I mean, there's no paradise here. This is like a welfare paradise. People don't want it. It's no good. It hadn't worked.
They talk about the dignity of work, but then they show their contempt for work when they don't have a work requirement. You're right. You know, earned success is the way people achieve happiness, and a work requirement's a very constructive element of that.
So we have work to do. The cavalry's coming.
The cavalry is coming.
We have work to do.
Yeah, we do.
All right. We'll keep in touch. Close touch. Senator Pat Toomey. Nobody better. Nobody.